All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? It is 5 p.m. West Coast time, 2 p.m. Hawaii time, 8 p.m. on the East Coast, and 7 p.m. for our Central Time, folk. I am Mad Statter, and this is Chatter with Statter. We've got some folks hanging out in the Statter box right now. Shock letting us know that the little twitchy gear that may or may not be right around here on your screen is there for your adjusting capabilities. We are coming at you at the highest possible source, 1080p. And if that's too much for your system to handle, there is a gear there to dial it down a little bit so you can handle it at your own speed, man. That's right. Rick in the house, Cindy Krause, excelente. We've got the regular crew coming on in. So, you know what? Why don't we get this party started? Oh no, my Black Cat intro seems to have gone away. Here, let's try this one more time. I have no idea what went wrong, and I have no idea how I fixed it. But turns out, I guess I fixed it. All right then, Pussycat in the house. Fantastic. Good to see you here today, Pussycat, because I think you were the one who inspired one of the topics that we're going to be discussing today, and that is the topic of sharks. I believe Pussycat was the one who asked whether or not the Puget Sound honey sharks. I gave a little bit of an answer, but as it turns out, I didn't know nearly what I was talking about. So I went and found out what it was that I was talking about. We'll get on that in a minute. And I just want to say thank you guys for hanging out. Kenny from the Cove in the house as well. Excelente. All right. So, hey, you guys, I know that, hey, Elaine, good to see you. All right, people are filtering on in. So I know that this is a usual topic that we always start out with, but, you know, everybody is experiencing it, and that is the weather. And I have to tell you guys, I don't know, I was wrong. I said October 15th was when the wet season in the Pacific Northwest was going to start this year. It is October 16th, and it is 90 degrees in the Seattle area. So the wet season has not even begun. In fact, it is warmer here, from what I understand, than it is right now in Honolulu. And so that's kind of weird. But yeah, you know, there's that. It's 90 degrees here today in Seattle. And earlier today, I was out and about in an amazing vehicle, got a little bit of a sunburn, I thought, because it was a convertible, and because I like to brag about things, I want to show you the car that I was in. It is a 1957 Ford Fairlane convertible today that I got to ride in, and I have to say, it was and is a beautiful vehicle, and anybody who can ride in a convertible without a smile on their face has something wrong with them, because let me tell you, it was super awesome to have the wind flying through the hair. Now, I have to admit, it was a little bit hotter than I anticipated. I actually brought along a sweater because I figured it would be chilly, but I wasn't anticipating today being 90 degrees out. And as you can see, the people in the Pacific Northwest do not water our lawns, because this is the entryway to my my driveway right there. And let's see here. Yeah, Andre, Washington State is definitely becoming the California of the Northwest. And yes, it was absolutely a fun ride. We went out, he had to go run some errands, basically. I mean, literally, we went to Renton. Now, never in my life have I been like, yeah, let's go to Renton. But today, we went to Renton, and it was great. Now, if you guys ever hang out with Terry from Scotland, or excuse me, Terry in Scotland, and have ever ridden around on his bus when he's in the United States, one of the places that he stores his game bus is in Renton, Washington, and we actually went very near where where Terry stores his imaginary bus. But it's definitely not a fancy place to be by any stretch of the imagination. But when you're in a convertible, every place is the place to be as far as as far as I'm concerned. And I'll tell you what, man, this car, so many people, man, so many people. We were at stoplights. People were stopping shouting from the sidewalk, stopping their cars, parking next to us. They had to, had to say something. And yes, Ann Ware, good to see you, by the way. That was a black cattail. Ashes was up there on the desk for a second, but I was not paying enough attention to her, so she just skedaddled off of that. And let's see here what Cindy Krause is saying. Cindy Krause, hold on, says, thought just hit me with Florida hurricane surge. There were instances of alligators being washed inland. So have there been any instances of sharks in inland waterways? Well, as far as like freshwater waterways, I'm not so sure, although maybe the spiny dogfish might go into that. But yes, indeedy, Cindy Krause, we will be talking a little bit about the sharks in the Puget Sound area. Absolutely. Like I said, I don't think they go up the rivers, and we don't have storm surges like Florida has. But I can only assume that some of the shark species, being as small as they are, if they can handle brackish water, I have no doubt in my mind that they might go way up the Duwamish Waterway, which eventually turns into the Green River. The Green River might be a river you recognize the name from because of, reasons. But we won't get into that. And oh, really? Okay, Andre, bull sharks can tolerate fresh water. They found them hundreds of miles out the Mississippi River. Excellent. See, we don't have bull sharks in the Puget Sound, so that wouldn't be an issue. But it sounds like some sharks can totally handle brackish to fresh water. So it is quite possible that we've got some sharky sharks that do the little things. And let's see here. Pussycat, you were saying you love to cruise in your Mustang, but the best is your old Bronco. Oh, I bet. Now, Pussycat, I've seen people who like take the I think that they must like weld it off, or I guess you don't weld stuff off, but like they take the roof off of the Bronco. Does yours have a roof? I know that most Broncos, or that Broncos didn't come as like convertibles, but people convert them into convertibles. So does your Bronco still have its top? I guess is what I'm trying to ask there. So let's see here. Okay, so it is removable. Okay, all right. But you had to modify the roof to make it removable, right? It didn't come that way, did it? Oh, the tops do come off on the old Broncos? Oh, I guess that would explain why I've seen so many of them with the top off. But, interesting. Okay, so Kenny's saying those old Broncos and Chevy Blazers with the unboltable hardtops were the best. Interesting. I had an uncle in Canada that had a Bronco when they first came out, but I didn't know that the top could come off. So we always rode in it with the top on, obviously. So you have a half cab with a fiberglass body kit. Okay. All right. There you go. Okie doke. Okay. I'm not really even sure what that means, but all right then. And, let's see here. Andre, maybe in Canada the top does not come off. Well, that's actually possible because I do know that Canadian vehicle specs are different than United States vehicle specs. For instance, in 1996, it was required that all new vehicles sold in Canada be sold with daytime running lights, whereas we don't have a law like that at all in the United States. So one random piece of info that really is useless, but I know it. And oh, you've had that Bronco for 40 years. Wow. Wow, craziness. And yeah, not Kenny, Cindy, I think that that Corvettes did have a removable, I mean, some models had the removable top. That sounds totally familiar to me as well. But I'll tell you, dude, when it is 90 degrees out, running around in a convertible is just the best thing ever. And in the Pacific Northwest, right? All y'all who are from warmer climes probably have way more convertibles in your life, but in the Pacific Northwest, having a convertible is really a bad idea. It just, especially if you don't have a garage. And so, not a whole lot of experience do I have with riding around in a convertible. And I have to say, it might be my new favorite thing, riding around in a convertible, because goodness gracious, doesn't that look like the most awesome car to be riding around in? All right, maybe I'm bragging, but I'll be done bragging. And so Andre, the new Broncos have the removable tops too. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. It must have been a feature that they wanted to bring back, sort of like what is it, the beef enchilada that Taco Bell is bringing back from the old menu, their little fake enchilada that they used to have. They're bringing it back because it was a classic and people were clamoring for it. And let's see here. So Pussycat is saying the top unbolts from the top of the windshield and the top of the bed. All right, there you go. There you go. And yeah, exactly. And vintage cars are beautiful. That was actually what I was saying to my friend who has the car. I said, even when cars like this aren't well taken care of, when they're still a work in progress, when they're still being rebuilt, I still take pictures of them in the parking lots. It's like, yeah, sure, that might be like super beat up 1952 whateverness, but I'll tell you what, it's a 1952 whateverness. And so boom, 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 I always like to take pictures of the crazy classic cars, even if they look like they've been through 70 plus years of hard work, hard labor. And let's see here, Pussycat, you were going to get a new Bronco, but it didn't have a Coyote V8. I don't know what a Coyote V8 is, but I do know that when it comes to V8s, I really don't need to drive anything with a V8. The last time I drove something with a V8, in fact, it was a van by that my friend Terry owned, the guy in the picture right now, the guy who owns this car, he let me borrow his van once, and it's a huge, work van. I had to haul something across town. So I'm going across town, and I look at the speedometer, and the speedometer says that I'm doing 85 miles an hour, and I'm barely touching the gas. So clearly, the speedometer must be broken. Now, when I take the van back to give it back to Terry, I let him know because I'm nice. I'm like, hey, your speedometer's broken. I was driving, or I said I was doing 85. I couldn't have been doing 85. And he was just like, the speedometer is not broken at all. You were doing 85. So from that point, I realized, yeah, I don't need to be driving a V8 because, clearly I could just go way too fast. And let's see here. So Pussycat, your Bronco is a 73 with a 3024 BBL. I don't know what that means. Automatic and AC. Good. I would hope that in Florida you would have AC. And yes, I am a leadfoot. My mom, even before I got my driver's license, called me Molly Andretti. I absolutely I end up accidentally going fast. And you drove a rental car, Dodge Durango, Saturday with a Hemi. Powerful, but on the highway it gets 12 miles to the gallon. Yeah, exactly. That's another reason why I don't need something like a V8, because I can't afford to fill the tank. But yeah, dude, I'm telling you, a V8, I'm dangerous if behind an engine like that. I am dangerous. And so, okay, so Pussycat, you didn't have your Bronco since the beginning, right? Because it's a 73. So you've only had it for 40 years. So you bought it in 82 with 155,000 miles on it, and you paid Wow, you paid, that was probably a lot of money actually back in 82 for a old car like that. 3,450 in 82. Shoot, you could have bought like a relatively new car for that price. But it wouldn't have been, as awesome as the car that you got, obviously. Um, let's see here. So Kenny was saying, you love convertibles, but the possibility of getting caught in a hailstorm and knowing what the hail can do to a ragtop keeps you from owning one. Yeah, see, now we don't have hailstorms here, but it is so damp in the Pacific Northwest that even if you keep it in a garage, I mean, unless the garage is like absolutely, you know, climate controlled and blah, 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 the ragtops end up being a little bit musty. In fact, actually, the this old car, like, yeah, it was definitely clean, but there was that old car smell, as it were. And Pussycat, yeah, you didn't want a new car, you wanted a Bronco, exactly. Hey, Pakalika, how you doing? We are hanging out here today and talking about old cars, inspired by a vehicle. I got to take a ride in this vehicle today. Got a little bit of a sunburn, and now Pussycat is bragging about his awesome Bronco that he got back in the day. And well, actually, he got back in the day, and he still owns it to this day. So let me know what kind of old classic cars do you have in your history there, Pakalika? I know that my first car that my parents got for me, well, not really for me, they got it with me in mind, was a 1964 and a half Mustang. But then my dad drove it a bunch and was just like, this is way too much car for a brand new driver. So yeah, no, she doesn't get to have this car. So I didn't get the Mustang. That was kind of a bummer. And hey, Gina, how you doing? We're talking about old school cars right now. And let's see here. So your old truck is a 69 F100. She has a 360 motor, needed a new transmission, and your friend got you a 4-speed with compound low. Nice, excellent. Yeah, those F100s, those Ford F-Series are just, they're beasts. They're great, great flipping cars to have. And, okay, Pakalika, your friend had a 1970 AMC AMX. I don't know, I mean, I'm sure I've seen one of those, but I don't know what an AMX even is. I don't know if I've ever heard of that. And let's see here. Kenny, later models of the Ford Fairlane had a convertible hardtop that folded into the trunk, hands-free. Got it. Yeah, I don't know what the top is made of. I assume it's a rag top. I honestly have no idea. I know that he said he needs to get a new one. So let's see here. Cindy, yeah, you can peel out and Sally without even trying. Exactly. Absolutely you can. And I would be the one doing that. I would be, yeah, I would be dangerous, basically. And let's see here. And your grandma had a vintage 68 convertible when you were a small kid, but she wouldn't ever put the top down for fear of wrecking the top material. Oh, okay. And Pussycat, an AMX is an American Motors Javelin. Okay. That's so funny because I must have had that knowledge buried deep in my brain, because AMX, when I was saying that, I was totally envisioning a car that looked like a Javelin. So I must have known that, even though I didn't know that I knew that. So thank you for reminding me of what I probably knew. And so Pakalika, your mom had a 65 Corvair. I don't even remember what Corvairs look like, because my brain always goes to Corvette. And if I remember correctly, Corvairs and Corvettes, yeah, they're not the same thing at all. I thought unsafe at any speed was the Pinto, but then again, is the Corvair a different version of a Pinto? But I thought unsafe at any speed was Pintos, wasn't it? Wasn't that a book or an article that Ralph Nader wrote? Let's see here. Pakalika, your grandma had a 60s with red interior Mustang. Nice. It was about the Corvair. Really? I, for some reason, had that in my mind that it was about the Pinto. And yeah, Pinto had the gas tank in the back, and I thought that it was unsafe at any speed. I thought it was I always had Pinto in my head tagged as the unsafe at any speed car. I had no idea that it was a Corvair. Right, well, Pinto can go boom at any speed, hence the it's unsafe at any speed logic that my little kid brain made, right? I mean, it kind of makes sense, sort of. So, okay, and Pussycat, the gas tank was behind the bumper in the Corvair. Oh, so just like the Pinto. But actually, though, weren't there a lot of cars that had the gas tank right behind the bumper? I mean, I know that in my 74 Nova, in order to fill the gas tank, you had to take the gas tank filler upper was behind the rear license plate, is what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. And let's see here. Cindy, there are a few unsafe cars. Gotcha. His AMC did sub 7 seconds on the quarter mile. Wow, that's pretty impressive. And Pussycat, I don't know if I can ask Ralph Nader, right? Isn't Ralph Nader, is Ralph Nader still alive? I feel like he's dead, but then I'm not sure if he is. And let's see here. Kenny from the Cove, your first car in 84 was a 70 Buick Wildcat, Battleship Huge, GM 455. Wow. Rochester Quadrajet, I don't know what that is, and ran faster than a prison escapee. Yep, I am definitely not surprised about that. And Rick, you owned a 72 Buick boat tail Riviera for about 24 hours. Dang dealer's lot kid destroyed it in the car wash before you picked it up. Oh, wow. Okay, now that sounds awful, but I have to ask, what is a boat tail? Rick, I've never heard of that phrase or descript, like what is a boat tail? I guess is what my answer is, or what my question is. So let's see here. Yeah, okay, so yeah, Unsafe at Any Speed, The Designed In Dangers of the American Automobile is a nonfiction book by Ralph Nader. I knew that. And okay, and he is still alive. All right. And Kenny, in your Buick, the fuel neck was behind the rear license plate. Kenny, the tail comes to a point. Okay, I know what those are now, and I never have known what to call those. Okay, that actually really explains a lot, to tell you the truth. And Cindy, your first car was a 67 Volkswagen, but you also had a 66. And Pussycat, the first car you ever drove was a 69 boat tail Buick Riviera 455. There you go. Yeah, another engine I don't need to have any part of. I don't need to have any part of a 400 cubic inch engine at all. I think my dad had a El Camino Super Sport with something big. And yeah. Yeah. So. And Andre, in your childhood, a boat tail was a kind of a pimp car. Well, I wonder if the cars that have the boat tails were adopted by the pimps, and so that got to be what was known as a, I don't know. Let's see here. So Pakalika, oldest car you ever owned was a 76 Toyota Celica, sorry, they say Celica in Canada. GT 5-speed, 2-door. You got that up to 116 in fifth. It sounded like third at that speed. Yeah, I bet. Wow. You know, I've never gone over 104 driving on my own. Despite my heavy foot, I've never gone above 104. And the reason why I know this is because at 105, the car that I tried to take 105 to, the revometer kicked in and the engine sort of stalled out, and so I couldn't go faster than 104. There you go. And Kenny from the Cove, the first non-farm tractor that you drove was your friend Ed's 77 Chevy Square Body. Wait, I'm so confused. So the first non-farm tractor. So there are tractors not for farms? And what's a Chevy Square Body? I'm very confused. And Elaine, your dad loved Ford Mustangs, got a 68 Mustang Silver 2-door fastback, was stored 4 years till owner died. It was like driving a bigger car, but I loved it. Drove like a granny, but kept it to keep it cherry. Until you backed into a low cement planter. Oh no! Very long scrape in your passenger door, which your dad was not upset about because the engine was no good. Oh, gotcha. You missed driving like a speed special. You took your mom's car for a ride after you washed it without permission. She was a little bit mad. Yeah, I bet my parents would have flipped their lids if we had taken a car before we were licensed. Oh my goodness. And let's see here. They have a car tuner in Texas called Hennessy, which will put a 1,000 horsepower engine in your F-150 or Jeep Wagner. Oh, yeah, no, that seems dangerous for me. Yeah. Let's see here. Darlene. Rick, Mr. Rickfoot, has a heavy foot, but his argument is he's keeping up with the flow of traffic. I think that's a fair argument. And, Kenny from the Cove. Square body refers to the body style of Chevy trucks from 72 to 87. Got it. Okay. And Pakalika, yeah, I'm glad too that I got all my speeding and dangerous driving done before cell phones, because I don't even want to think about how many houses I might have hit if I had a cell phone while I was driving fast. Because I know that even without a cell phone, I've hit already at least one house. So there you have it. And let's see here. Andre, you've never bought a new car? You need to get on that soon. Well, you know what? I don't really know. I mean, I bought a new car once, but honestly, they say that it's way better, financial responsibility to not buy a new car. Like, it's like the moment you drive it off the lot, it already loses like 1,000,000% or something. Not 1,000,000%, obviously. But apparently it's better to buy like, one that's just a couple years old that's been used and taken good care of. But new or used, buying a car is for sure a stressful experience. But you'll be able to do it. I mean, I've done it twice. So, you'll be able to do it. Although I can say this, if you have somebody that you know who is a mechanic, for sure, let them look over, the vehicle if it's used. Actually, to tell you the truth, even if it's new, look over the vehicle before you buy it. That much I can tell you for certain. And, let's see here. So Kenny, okay, after the square bodies came the OBS, the body style of Andy's white truck. Got it. Pakalika, you never hit a house, but you did flip a VW bus, though. Don't fall asleep while driving. Yes, that's always good. I don't think it matters what you're driving. Don't fall asleep while driving is very good advice. Very, very good advice. So let's see here. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, exactly. With the new car, you're paying several extra thousand for being the first to drive it off the lot. Yeah, exactly. Now, The new car that I bought was actually like an extraordinarily cheap new car. Probably the cheapest new car ever built, which was it was a Saturn. But new cars these days are not cheap. I don't care if it's like the cheapest of the cheap. New cars these days are not cheap. And I don't know. I feel like, especially since so many cars are going into the electric everything mode, I don't know. I feel like, I want a car that's proven it's not a lemon first. And let's see here. Pussycat, you had a 67 F100 short bed with a 390 red. I don't know what a 390 red is. I mean, I'm assuming a 390 is the size of the motor, but I don't know what the red means. And let's see, wait, what did Cindy say? Okay, gotcha. Mustang. That was great handling there. And let's see here, Rick. All right. Yes, before you buy a car, go on YouTube and see what it says about the make and model that you want. It might change your mind. Absolutely. Yes, and actually there is a huge car shortage right now. The lots basically are having a really hard time getting the new vehicles because of all the different supply chain shortages from various and assorted, computer chips and other car parts. They're just not getting to the manufacturers in the timely fashion that our system is used to. And yeah, there is actually a huge shortage of new cars right now, which honestly, like, I don't know, man. I mean, if the supply chain is so sketchy, I just am so paranoid about what car companies would do just to like get product out. And so it's just like, maybe this isn't a good year to buy a car. It's like I guess what I'm saying is like in 5 years, we're going to look back at the 2020 models and go, that was a year that just is a bad year. But obviously we're not going to know that until later on down the road. And yeah, your dealership, that's exactly what's happening right now. The dealerships are calling in people and offering them crazy amounts of money to sell their used car so they can buy their used cars so that they can go and sell them, because people are looking for cars, but there's no cars on the lot for them to buy. And so the used car market right now, at least in the Seattle area, is going nuts. My friend Terry, the guy driving this car right here, he knows a lot of people everywhere. And we were just literally having this conversation the other day about how, or he had just found out from one of his clients that it was a used car lot. He works in HVAC, so he's got a lot of different clients and a lot of different businesses. And yeah, the used car guy was just saying that it is a nightmare right now trying to even just get cars on the lots to sell. And so Rick, that just-in-time production was just an excuse to cut the production workers, and now we're paying the price for bad planning. Exactly. Let's see here. Yeah, Pussycat, right now, if you've got a used car that isn't getting, that you're thinking about selling, now is the time to sell. You're probably never going to get as much money for it as they are. They're offering stupid amounts of money for used cars because they need cars to sell. And by the way, I was busy talking about things and stuff, but I didn't say thank you, Pakalika, and thank you, Andre, for the biddies. I didn't mean to ignore you there. And let's see here. Yeah, and they probably are repoing. Andre's saying, used cars are even more expensive and that they're repoing them at a high rate to get the used cars for sale. Yeah, although I can only assume, you can only repo a car. You can only repo cars that are allowed to be, need to be repoed, right? And I think cars are one of the last loans for people to default on. So they'll default on their house before they'll default on their car. So I don't know whether or not there's more being repoed, but then again, that really wouldn't surprise me because it is a sign of the times. People are struggling to make ends meet, what with inflation, etc. And Let's see here. You're keeping your Kenny. You're keeping your '09 Silverado until you die. Bow Tie Nation, baby. Explain, what does Bow Tie Nation? I don't know what that means. What does Bow Tie Nation mean? And let's see here. Kenny from the Cove, car makers won't cut too many corners to boost production. The fewer cars available, the more they can charge for what they do produce. Demand drives prices. Well, to a degree, but when but when there's not any cars that are in demand, I don't really know. Oh, bow tie refers to the Chevy emblem. Got it. Okay. All right. Pussycat, the Broncos off limits. Got it. It's your son's now. There you have it. Let's see here. Yeah, you probably, Pussycat, probably could get more for your Mustang today than what you paid for it 6 years ago. So, are we about to have a throwdown here? Are we about to have a throwdown between the Ford folk and the Chevy bow tie clan? All right. I hope not. Let's try to get along now, fellas. Let's try to get along. Oh, that's funny. Let's see here. And you're all about the Ford. There you have it. I mean, honestly, I'm a Subaru girl. I mean, I don't know what to tell y'all, but I'm a Subaru girl. I love my Subarus. I love my Subies. My Subies are just the best. And, so Andre, all you've ever had is a VW? Well, boy howdy. As I'm sure you know from renting all the different cars, you are in for a big change with the next vehicle that you own. Unless, of course, you go VW again, I guess. Because let me tell you, VWs are their own thing. Especially, now, I don't know, well, what am I trying to say? I don't know if you had an automatic or a manual VW, but the manual VWs are completely different than the way their gear shift is made. So if you're going to go from a manual VW to a manual not VW, yeah, be careful. Be careful. The first and reverse are not the same directions. And we'll just leave it at that. Pussycat, and then there's the Mopar people and the Charger and the Challengers. Oh, Mopar, that was it. God, I was trying to think of that word, Mopar, the other day. I was like, the muscle, the blah, blah, blah. And all I could think of was Peterbilt. And it's just like, Peterbilt is not even what I'm talking about. That's a truck. So, yeah, there you go. Mopar. All right. Got it. And your mechanic always told you to get rid of the VW, says Andre. You had Jettas and a Golf and a VW Bug, all automatic. Gotcha. Well, manuals are harder and harder to come by these days, so I'm not at all surprised that that you were in the automatic club. So you don't have the habit, the gearing habit of a manual VW driver when it comes to switching over. Yeah. And that's right. And singing that song, and I will not be singing that song. Let's see here. Andre, you want a Toyota? That's what your mechanic always says. Get a Toyota or a Honda. Yeah, well, those are the obvious choices. And having driven both varieties of vehicles, unless now, obviously, if you're going for the higher end models, what I'm about to say doesn't apply. But if you're going to go for a cheaper end car, you need to go and test drive the Honda versus the Toyota, because both of them handle so differently. Like, I grew up with Toyotas, and so Toyotas were how my body liked to feel when driving. When I have a lot of friends who had Hondas back in the day, and their cars felt like jello to me. I could not stand how the Hondas handled at all. They, however, hated the Toyotas. When they would borrow my Toyota, they hated how it handled. So like these two cars, though both very reliable, totally act very differently. And so, like try both out to see which one is more your vibe, because they handle very differently. Now, once you get into the higher end stuff, like the higher end Hondas, they handle more like a Toyota in my experience. But the lower end, boy howdy, I cannot handle it is like a jello car to me. And Andre, you're going to get a Toyota Highlander hybrid because it's big but gets 35 to the gallon. 35 is good. That is good. But yeah, before you get your heart set on anything, do what Rick said, and that's, go down a YouTube rabbit hole and about that car to see what you find out. And then B, obviously drive it. Cause like, I know, like, it's strange. Sometimes the different years can make all the difference in the world. Like the Outback Forester that I have is a 2004, and the 2004 is fine and dandy. But the model 2003 and 2002 and 2001 of the Foresters, they had, I can't remember what issue it was, but they had like a totally messed up issue that my friends who owned those years was always complaining about. But in 2004, they somehow like fixed it and blah, blah, blah. And so my mechanic friend, when he found out that I was getting a Forester, he's like, "Oh, wait, hold on. Let me do some research." And then he found out, oh, okay, it's you. The car that you're thinking about getting is a good year. If it was 1 year older, I would say, no, do not get that car. But luckily the car that I was looking at was of the proper vintage, shall we say. And, Andre, you've always heard that Subarus are great, but they're expensive to repair. I mean, you kind of, I guess what makes them expensive to repair is you kind of often, there are some places that think Subarus are fancy and weird, and so they're not comfortable working on them. But it just so happens in my area, there's like 3 different Subaru specialty mechanics or garages. They work basically exclusively on Subarus. And so I guess there's like competition or something. And so I've never had a problem with it, but I can say I live in a place that has one of the highest concentrations of Subarus on the continental United States. I think Washington and Colorado are the 2 states that have the most Subarus on the roads. So it does stand to reason that I would be in a unique position to have an abundance of mechanics willing to work on that vehicle. And oh no, Pussycat, Chevy trucks are known for losing parts down the road. That's not good. That is not good. And Kenny, your next truck is going to be a restoration model of the 86 square body you bought brand new in 86. Oh, that's so cute. So let's see here. And Rick is saying some Toyota Tundra trucks had problems. Your little brother bought a 2010, and after 8 years, the frame was recalled, and they had to replace the entire frame. Oh my God. That seems like... I mean, how do you replace the entire frame? You have to basically undo the entire car and then redo the entire car. I mean, you're literally unbuilding and rebuilding the car, right? Is that how you would replace the frame? What? it seems like it would just be better to give them a new car. I mean, wow. Well, frames are important. And let's see here. So hold on one sec. Oh no, dude. So Rick, they had the truck for only 4 months before it got recalled. Oh, what a flippin' nightmare. Oh, what a frippin' nightmare. And, well, yeah, Kenny, I mean, the body comes off as one unit. That's great. But still, though, you've still got all the electrical. You've got to unplug and replug. You've got all of the, right? Or am I? A whole engine you have to move from one to another. Am I not understanding what a frame is? Maybe that is possible. That is possible. That I don't understand what you're talking about at all. Okay, so Darlene, you're just like, yeah, that's true. We saw, or what, you had to have it done. It took quite a while to repair it. Wow, what a pain in the arse. Oh no, that's just unpleasant. Oh, wow. Rick, first they shipped the wrong frame after it was all apart, and that took at least another month. Seriously? Like, you had one job, and that's to replace the recalled frame. How many frames are they just randomly sending out if it's not... Okay, yeah, I would have been really, really, really annoyed. Yeah, exactly, Darlene. Okay, so Darlene is on the same page as I am, and maybe we're reading a completely different book. But yeah, all the innards, all the electrical, all the everything, your seat belts have to be removed. Or, well, actually, I don't really know. All I know is, wow. And let's see here. Rick, you think Toyota shares the parts warehouse with my dishwasher company? I would not be surprised at all. Speaking of which, for those of you who aren't familiar with the latest in my dishwasher saga, on Wednesday, I'm going to get a new dishwasher delivered. And so I'm very excited about that. Super duper excited about that. And my old one will be carried away and it'll be awesome. And so I'll be able to have dishes again. I have dishes now, but I'll be able to have clean dishes again. Clean dishes. That is right. All right. So I hinted at something we were going to... Oh, Darlene, hooked up on Wednesday too? Yeah, because it's a portable one. So basically all I have to do is pull the hose out, or I have to plug it in. No. All right. I have to wheel it over next to my sink, plug it in, pull the hose out, and attach it to the sink. So yeah, I'll be able to run a load of dishes basically within an hour of them delivering it. And actually probably sooner, but I didn't want my famous last words to be like, oh, I'll have it done in 15 minutes. And then like 3 days later, it still hasn't been done. So, and no, Pagalika, I don't eat off my dirty dishes. But I do end up with a sink full of dirty dishes for a really long time until basically I run out of clean dishes to eat off of. And then I do my dishes. And I'm getting tired of that routine. And Kenny, if I stream on Wednesday, I will title that stream. I should title that stream Dishwasher Stream or Dishwasher Wednesday. We will see. I'm not promising anything, but there is hopes that that's exactly what will be happening on Wednesday. And Andre, I need to coat my house with chili sauce to keep it rat proof. Well, see, the problem is the rats are not the rats aren't coming into the house. The rats are being brought into the house. And as it turns out, mice are as well. However, mice, scream really loudly, and I always get alerted to their presence, whereas the rats are very silent. And so all of the mice I've been able to catch and throw back outside, but the rats, they're a little sneakier. They're a little silent. And Cindy Krause, can I wrap the hoses in steel wool? We definitely have thought about that. And it will be something I'm looking into because rats have very sharp teeth and they like to chew on things. And speaking of sharp teeth, see, that segue was awkward, but I'm doing it anyway. Let's talk about sharks. Because Pussycat asked, hey, are there any sharks in the Puget Sound? And I said, oh yeah, there's tiny ones, and it's really no big deal, and whatever. And there are tiny ones, but there's also big ones. Like, some of the biggest ones in the world are in the Puget Sound. Like the basking shark, which can be like up to 32 feet, apparently. 32 feet. We've got basking sharks. Yeah. But the basking sharks, luckily, they're filter feeders, so we don't have to worry about basking sharks hurting us. Basking sharks are the second largest sharks in the world after whale sharks. Whale sharks are also something you don't have to worry about because they're filter feeders. And great white sharks are sometimes in the Puget Sound, but not very often. And they're very rare visitors into the Salish Sea, whereas these are actual sharks of the Puget Sound. Hey, C Honda, good to see you. You are coming in right at the time we're talking about some sharks. And so the main sharks that we have here in the Pacific Northwest or in the Puget Sound is the spiny dogfish. And they're usually only about 5 feet long. And I'll even show you a picture of them because I've got one right here. This is a spiny dogfish. And they kind of look like a shark, but kind of not. And even though they're 5 feet long and it seems like, oh, that's kind of a big fish, they're not going to bite you. However, they do have some spines behind their fins that are slightly poisonous. Or is it venomous? Poisonous? Venomous? Slightly venomous. So it's called a spiny dogfish because, well, you need to watch out for the spines. I don't think the spines are necessarily going to kill you if you're a human, but it will make you very uncomfortable. And so, as you can see, the spiny dogfish is at the top of one of the posters, and then it's actually at the bottom of the other poster because they're basically in size order only different. And Pakalika, are they like catfish? No, they're dogfish. They're dogfish. And hey, Rowdy 13, good to see you. We are learning about sharks. And yes, Andre, venomous is injected, poisonous is when you eat it. That's why I had to sort of go back and forth in my head. So yeah, they're venomous. The venomous spikes are on the spiny dogfish. And spiny dogfish is a type of shark. Another type of shark that we have in the Pacific Northwest is really flippin' weird. And I don't know why they call it a shark, but it's called an angel shark. It's a Pacific angel shark, and it looks a lot like a ray. This is the picture of the angel shark right here. And if I'd have seen that, I would have assumed it was a ray. But apparently it's not a ray, it's a shark. And one way you can tell the difference between a ray and a shark is the little side flappy wings on a shark are not attached to the head. You can see that in this picture a little bit. And then if it's a ray, the little flappy wings are attached to the head. And I want you to know, the little flappy wings is not the technical term at all. I don't know what you call the little floppy wings. But I don't know what you call little floppy wings, but yeah, that you can see. And yeah, Darlene, if I hadn't gone down a rabbit hole of sharkiness, I would have never guessed that this was a shark, but you can see the head is still, you can see the shape of the head and how it is separated from the flappy flaps. So since they tell me it's a shark, because of that, then I will believe them. Now, the coolest shark that we have in the Puget Sound waters is the blunt nose six-gilled shark. And the blunt nose six-gilled shark is quite large. I believe it gets to be about 18 to 20 feet long. And it's a prehistoric shark that is normally found in the depths of the deepest oceans, like 5,000 and 6,000 feet underwater. Now, when I first read this, I was like, that's got to be a typo. But no, apparently it's not. So they are deep ocean sharks. However, they come into the Puget Sound to have their babies. And so so basically the Puget Sound is a nursery for the babies of these six-gilled sharks. And when I say babies, I use that term loosely. They're young, they're juvenile, but they still are 5 to 8 feet long. So they're by no means tiny, but they have discovered that it is a nursery for the blunt nose six-gilled sharks. Now, Andre, you are correct. There is a salmon shark, and everybody loves salmon. And the salmon shark, as you can guess, does eat the salmons. However, salmon sharks are not very common in the Puget Sound. They're more in the Straits of Juan de Fuca, closer to the deep ocean. But they do show up in the Puget Sound. But the very most common sharks that you're going to find in the Puget Sound is the weird angel shark with the flappy flaps, and the spiny dogfish, and then the let's see, where did it go? Oh no, do I not have it? Uh-oh. All right, I think I'm gonna have to use my click. but they're hypothesizing that the water has turned too warm to sustain the snow crabs where they currently had always nested, lived, survived, bred before. And so whether or not they found colder waters or didn't find a good place to live on the other end of that spectrum, I don't think they know yet. But yeah, I was just reading about that article, and it's very disturbing because snow crab season has never been canceled, apparently. And so, yeah, this is a bit of an issue, as it were. And let's see here. Andre, sharks do like shallows to use as a nursery, like the mangroves. Yeah, and since this shark is such a deep water shark, it stands to reason in my ignorant mind that even though, like 800 feet worth of water is really deep, to their 5,000 feet of water, that's the shallows, and so it kind of makes sense that they would find a place like the Puget Sound to have their nursery. It's shallow, but, relatively speaking, as it were. And Andre, which country eats shark as the national dish? I don't know. I know that a lot of Asian cuisines, shark fin soup is extremely popular, which is part of the reason why sharks are harvested for food. But I don't know. I don't know of any. I mean, I'm not surprised that there is some place that has it as its national dish, but I don't know. I want to say like Iceland, but I truly. Andre, Iceland eat fermented Arctic shark. There we go. I was gonna say, I want to say Iceland, but I'm really making that up. And so, as it turns out, I guess maybe I wasn't making that up. And so thank you so much, Andre, for those biddies. And Cindy, right, I guess maybe you had shark one time, but it was kind of mushy. I'm assuming perhaps that was while you were on your sailing trip around not really around the world, but practically around the world. For those of you who don't know, Cindy Krause has spent many months on a sailboat going all sorts of places, and I can only assume that the shark meal was on that journey. And so, Kenny, you've eaten blacktip shark and it was delicious. Okay, see, now when I was going down this little rabbit hole of things and stuff, it became very clear that like people eat shark. Dogfish, the spiny dogfish, the dogfish shark, is, I guess, like totally harvested to eat, which it just had never occurred to me to eat a shark, right? I just had never heard of that. And Pussycat, you don't shark fish anymore. You live on the beach and have caught sharks as big as 11 feet. Wow, crazy. Now, so when you catch these sharks, do you eat them, or what do you do when you catch it? Like, catching a shark seems like kind of scary, y'all. So I just have to wonder, like, what would possess you? Maybe like trying to find a meal or something. Oh yeah. Let's see here. Darlene, I remember a program about the mangroves, and yeah, the sharks like for the little areas for raising their young. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Andre, they have to ferment the shark meat because the Arctic shark has lots of ammonia in it, and if you eat it fresh, it'll kill you. Nice. Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. I don't. Iceland seems kind of neat. I like their whole, how they live with the little gnomes, I think. Is it the gnomes or the trolls? I think it's the gnomes. I like what they do with the gnomes in Iceland, but yeah, I'll let them have all the shark. They can have all of it. Oh, it's the trolls? Well then, I thought it was the, oh, and where does the ammonia act as an antifreeze? That makes sense. I have no idea if that's the case, but that totally makes sense. And let's see here. And, oh, Pussycat, you used to just catch them for sport and keep the jaws. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, finger wag at you, but you've obviously learned better. But honestly, like, to me, catching them for their teeth seems way more logical than catching them for food. I just don't think of sharks as food. Total cultural bias. I know. But I just have such a hard time wrapping my brain around the idea of eating sharks as food. And, Pussycat, I've also been bitten and I ate him. And, let's see here. Pecola Tea, modern day humans are interesting. We like to eat and drink stuff that could kill us. We're basically weirdos. Yeah, there you go. Let's see here. Oh, wow, really? So, Kenny, it was, there was a restaurant in Port Aransas that served all-you-can-eat black tip on Sundays. Okay. And by the way, Pecola Tea, so glad to see you here. Wasn't sure if you were going to be able to join us this Shark Sunday, because Pecola Tea, I think she's the card-carrying, crown-wearing winner of the Hamajang Ganger who has met the most Hamajang Gangies. So not only does Pecola Tea live on the island of Oahu, where she gets to hang out with all of the Hamajang Gangers who live in that area, she gets to see everybody who comes visit. And Poppy Shaney, Mr. Gadabout Town, he apparently went to Oahu, and it looks like Pecola Tea and Michi Mama got to hang out with him this afternoon. So that is super sweet. And let's see here. Pussycat, you got bitten while fishing for them on the leg. Well, Pussycat, turnabout's fair play, is it not? You want me to bite? Well, I'll bite. I will bite you. And let's see here. E-Music, a couple times while fishing in Hilo Bay, you kept accidentally catching baby hammerhead sharks. You were very worried the mama shark would come after me. Totally, dude. I'm not even, I can see your logic. I can see your fear. That totally makes sense. And, let's see here. Kuliolani, Kuliolani was there, and Zamboni too. Oh, right, because they're back in, they moved back, didn't they? Because they lived in Florida for a while because of and then he got switched back to go home to Hawaii, right? Am I making all that up? I feel like I might be, but I feel like I might not be. Okay, Pecola Tea, you don't wear a crown, just the golden rubber slippers. Okay, there we go. We'll do that. Actually, that makes more sense because you're traveling around to meet everybody. So, of course, the golden rubber slippers. That is it. That is exactly it. Let's see, Pussycat, it's dangerous to land a shark on the beach. You got to grab him by the tail and drag it backwards. Well, yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Go up and give it a hug? Give it a little kiss? Are you going to go boop its snoot? I don't think booping a shark's snoot is a good plan. So it kind of makes sense. You want to grab it by the tail. Oh, that's funny. And let's see here, Andre, you caught a moray eel near Hilo and had a problem trying to get it off the hook, so you just didn't fish again. Fair enough. That probably, aren't the moray eels the ones with the lot of teeth? And, a lot of teeth. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to fish either after I caught one of those. And, okay, so people use a gaff hook. Gotcha. And moray eels are spooky, so I'm thinking the moray eels are the ones with the teethuses. All of the teethuses. And, so it's a teethy water snake, basically. Yeah, I can see why you might not like that. I mean, I can see why I might not like that. Yeah, I can see why that's just, well, there's a moray, and then there's a moray. And I do not feel amore for amore, as it were. All right, so I wanted to show you guys one more thing today. And this is a little bit more seasonally appropriate, as it were. And let's see here. Kenny from the Cove, though, is saying snoot booping is definitely contraindicated for sharks. You risk not getting your snoot bopper back. Yes, exactly. And Lord knows you're not gonna get a boop snoot right back either. Even if the shark was totally into you booping his snoot, the shark isn't gonna boop your snoot, and so then it's an unfair exchange. It's so you just want to avoid it at all costs, right? It's unfair. But back to the one last topic I wanted to throw at you today. We are in the midst of the spooky October Halloween situation, and it is time for all things pumpkin, right? Now, not David S. Pumpkin. If you know who David S. Pumpkin is, that's great, but we're not going to talk about David S. Pumpkin. Instead, we're going to talk about this guy from Minnesota, and he grew one of the biggest pumpkins. Oh no, I don't have my little thing. All right, I'll just have to get it here. He grew one of the biggest pumpkins ever. And let's see here. He's from Minnesota, and his name is Travis Geinger, I think, Giengr. And his pumpkin was 2,560 pounds. And he took that pumpkin from Minnesota all the way to California. I don't know how that he did that without, I would have been so afraid that I would crack it or whatever. Obviously super careful in the transport. And I've got this other picture too, but I forgot to load it into my OBS, and so I am trying to get it right now, being all casual and the like, which is why I'm just babbling about things and stuff, because I'm trying to get the other picture on the screen, and my computer is acting really slow. So let's see here. There we go. All right. So, let's see here. So this is how they weighed it. And so it all strapped in and strapped on and strapped and strapped and strapped. I'm assuming that the teddy bear was there for good luck. And I don't think that the teddy bear, did much to alter the weigh-in. But, yeah, Holy Flirk, Hurley Furk. Yep, you got it. That is, you could feed a whole herd of moose, yes, with that pumpkin. Pample would have a full belly. And yeah, exactly, C. Honda, I want to see the size of that pie. And, yeah, and so, Minnesota Boy did that. But the contest is in Half Moon Bay, California. It's like their pumpkin fest. And it's not the biggest pumpkin in the let's see here, in the history of that fair, but it's the second biggest, I believe. And in 2020, the same guy, he ended up, hold on, where'd it go? That guy, he ended up with a winner. He won in 2020 as well. Now, I don't know if 2021 didn't have a festival or what, or if he was just a loser in 2021. But in 2022, he's a winner again. And apparently, as Rick said, you heard he's selling seeds for $100 each. Wow. I have tried to grow pumpkins, and I just don't have the right, I don't know what atmosphere you need. I've been told it needs to be wet and warm, and my backyard is just, I guess, way too dry or something. But oh my, yeah, I can't grow a pumpkin to save my life. And let's see here. Anne saying, oh, see the foam insulation sheet underneath so it'd have some cushion on the drive. That totally makes sense. And Andre, okay, this is the first in-person pumpkin festival since the lockdown. Okay, so that kind of makes sense that he missed the 2021. And Kenny from the Cove, just think of all the pumpkin spice that Behemoth could supply. The spice It's got the spice. And there you go. There you go. And Rick is throwing down the Lono shout out, which, by the way, I do have a Lono song, and we haven't listened to Lono yet today. So, you know what? I think I'm going to play that. And before I play that, I'm going to tell Pussycat, maybe make your dog leave the room. Maybe make your dog leave the room. So we're gonna wait a few seconds to let Pussycat do what I told him to do. Because if he doesn't, well, he'll find out what'll happen if he doesn't. Any idea what song? Any idea what song I'm about to play? Oh, it might have something to do with the Traveling Rocks. That's right. Okay. Is that dog all secured there, Pussycat? Let's do it.
Kaulana o moloka ia hele pohaku mai waila vava uluvehe Hana mene huni ke ia pola Haoli mene huni e mai a me ai One by one Hele pohaku to the other side Hele pohaku one by one Hele pohaku to the other side Papa pohaku to the other side Kaulana o moloka ia hele pohaku Mai waila ua vava uluvehe Hana mene huni ke ia pola Haoli mene huni e mai a me ai One by one Hele pohaku to the other side Hele pohaku one by one Hele pohaku to the other side Papa pohaku to the other side Luna o mauna I ke mapule uma ke kai ku home Ili o pai ka hale ko inoa Hele aku ka ko e pohaku o wailau One by one Hele pohaku to the other side Hele pohaku one by one Hele pohaku to the other side Papa pohaku to the other side Hele iluna o mauna I ke mapule uma ke kai ku home Ili o pai ka hale ko inoa Hele aku ka ko e pohaku o wailau One by one Hele pohaku to the other side Hele pohaku one by one Hele pohaku to the other side Papa pohaku to the other side Ia mai ana kapuana Moloka I ka homea Hele pohaku One by one Hele pohaku to the other side Hele pohaku one by one Hele pohaku to the other side Papa pohaku to the other Let's go, Beriunie! mai ana kapuana Molokai I kaone I hele pohaku One by one Hele pohaku to the other side Hele pohaku one by one Hele pohaku to the other side Pohaku to the other side Traveling Rocks of Molokai. Hele Pohaku.
All right, so everyone is giving Kenny all sorts of ideas for his Halloween costume. But I'll tell you, man, I think that the whole pumpkin spice girl is a beautiful conglomeration of two different ideas. So I think you should run with it the way it is for sure. And see, Honda, they're putting pumpkin spice in all kinds of food. Do they have it in shave ice? I feel like somebody said that they were. And I feel like, I don't know if I'm making that up or not, but I feel like we talked about this on the stream once, and I want to say that somebody saw a pumpkin spice shave ice flavor on the islands, but gall dung it, Cola T might have to point and laugh in my general direction and tell me that I'm very wrong. And Pussycat, Old Spice Girl, that would be good too. That would be funny. And see, Honda, you're right. I think you're right. I think Luke said yes. See, Honda, I think that we're having the same hallucination or the same memory. I think we're on the same page, no matter what. We might be wrong, we might be right, but we're both there together. And Picola Tea, no pumpkin spice on shave ice, sounds like pineapple on pizza. Yeah, I don't know if I would like, because pumpkin spice actually, just so you guys know, pumpkin spice doesn't actually have pumpkin in it. It's just the spices you use to make pumpkin pie is what pumpkin spice is. But on shave ice, that just doesn't seem like a really good flavor combo. I suppose if you put the condensed milk on it, it would be a little bit more acceptable, but I just don't know if I would. No, I just don't know. I mean, I like pumpkin spice a lot. In fact, actually, I'll be the first one to admit I am that basic because my espresso stand down the street from my house, they keep, hey, Terry in Scotland, good to see you. We are just wrapping this up right now, but right now we are talking about the very witty pumpkin spice girl costume that Kenny has in mind for this Halloween season, and I think it's brilliant. But pumpkin belongs in pie. There you go. Well, actually, though, I don't mind pumpkin spice in my coffee, and my espresso stand actually they serve pumpkin spice all year round. Now, it's not the weird stuff. I don't know what Starbucks does with their pumpkin spice. I don't know what they've got in theirs. It's not that. It's just, the Torani pumpkin spice syrup, but they keep it on hand for me all year round, and so you don't need to You don't need to wait for fall to happen in my neck of the woods if you want a pumpkin spice coffee, because I drink pumpkin spice coffees in August, for goodness sake, and in April. And let's see here. Andre, you've seen some Li Hing infused tequila from Hawaii, but that kind of scares you. Well, first off, it doesn't matter if it's Li Hing infused or not. It's tequila, so it definitely scares me. But I would be interested in Li Hing infused vodka. That might be interesting. And let's see here. Darlene, pie is acceptable, but never was a fan of that flavor in your coffee. Fair enough. Like I said, I don't like the Starbucks stuff. I don't know what they've got. I don't know what they do. But Starbucks stuff is, but the Tarani stuff is actually quite tasty. I think it's very quite tasty. Very quite tasty. You can quote me on that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can quote me on that. So, all right, you guys, it is 2 minutes till the bottom of the hour, so I guess I'm going to start to wrap this up, but I'm super stoked that we all got to hang out here today, and that we got to learn a little bit about sharks, and we got to be inspired by Kenny from the Cove's costume idea. It looks like a bunch of different costumes, sort of ideas sort of sprouted from that, because honestly, Old Spice Girl, I don't know who's going to do Old Spice Girl, but Old Spice Girl sounds like a really, really good costume. And Picola Tea, you and K-Man had Li Hing margaritas in Waimea. Delish. Okay, that might be, that I could maybe, I mean, I know there's tequila, but I could maybe get behind that. And so let's see here. We've got an explosion of hearts, and we've got Andre throwing down the biddies. Fantastic. All right, you guys. Remember, this Wednesday, I may or may not have a stream. It all depends on whether or not the dishwasher gets delivered or when it's going to get delivered. And I won't know when the dishwasher is going to get delivered until Tuesday afternoon. So I will try to put it out on social media if I know for certain we're not going to have a stream. But basically, my point is, if I don't show up on Wednesday, most likely it's not going to be a panic-inducing event. Most likely it's a planned event. I mean, who really knows? But don't stress. If you don't see me on Wednesday, there's most likely a very good reason for it. And that is reason of dishwasher. And so, oh, Kylo finally rolled over. There we go. Rolled over to the other side. He's that from one side of the bed to the other. He Hele'd from one side of the bed to the other. There you go. Kenny, I could video the whole dishwasher saga, perhaps, but that would require me showing you the pigsty that my house is, and I'm not so sure I'm ready to do that yet. Yeah, see, Honda, it most likely won't be due to any cat scratches or bites. It will most likely, fingers crossed, will be due to the dishwasher getting delivered. Now, if we do have a stream on Wednesday, it will be one of two streams. It will be me bragging about my new dishwasher, or it will be me very angry because, well, until the dishwasher in my house is working, I'm not gonna believe that I'm gonna get a dishwasher in my house working. So I don't want to jinx myself, right? Right. And Anne understands it. The dishwasher is more important than the stream. Finally! Exactly. Finally! So we are done for Sunday, and hopefully we will see each other on Wednesday. If we don't see each other on Wednesday, we will see each other on Saturday for Statterbox at the cinema. What are we going to watch? I don't know. Let's figure that out, shall we? We will figure that out. Maybe we'll talk about that on Wednesday. All right, then. Yeah, it will be a Habut Molly. Exactly. Habut Molly Wednesday. And so, exactly, Kenny. Don't believe it until you pull a clean dish out of it. That is exactly it. And Pussycat, I am going to get her done. In fact, hopefully the house won't be nearly a sty by the time it gets delivered, because I need to clear a path for delivery and removal. So, and where we've come so far. we can handle whatever happens on Dishwasher Wednesday. Exactly right, you guys. So hopefully Dishwasher Wednesday is just around the corner. All right then, until then, take care. Have a good one.